Let us define first what is resource. A resource is anything that could be thought of, anything that could be considered as a strength, as a positive vibes or weaknesses, limitations, problems, challenges of a given firm, organization, school, government agencies, including tangible and intangible benefits. And when we say tangible benefits, these are benefits that can be touched, that can be seen, and that can be felt. While intangible benefit, this refers to assets that are gained but not by physical touch or not by physical visibility. And when we talk about resource, there are three main organizational resources, especially or being managed in any human capital organization. The first one is human resource. Human resource, it refers to people. It refers to human being. Second, financial resources. This refers to money. This refers to cash. This refers to banknotes or anything that has value in relation to compensation, salaries, and other type of financial resources. The third is technological resources. Technological resources does not mean only ICT, but it refers to infrastructure, it refers to hardware, it refers to software, and it even refers to process that are being in place in the organization. So the next question is, what is the purpose of human resource management? So when we say purpose, what is the objective? Why we have to manage human resource management? So the purpose is to ensure that all the employees, all the staff in any organization are used in such a way that the employer or the one who hired us obtains the greatest possible benefit from the ability and the talent of the employees and obtain both material and psychological reward from their work. When we say both material and psychological rewards, material refers to those resources that I'd mentioned, technological, financial, and the personnel. That's the material benefit that we could get from any organization. While psychological rewards, this refers to recognition of our loyalty and our dedication and the hard work that we spend to the organization. What are some examples of the psychological reward? This is convenience when you go to work. Very nice working environment, safety, and there are many other things that I will be discussing further in the next meeting. So that you can understand the context of HRM in the context of educational administration, HRM or human resource management is a combination of people oriented management. That is why it is called distinctive approach. It is distinctive because it is a combination of people oriented management practice that views assets not cost, and its main is to create and maintain a skillful and committed workforce to gain competitive edge, especially that we are working in an educational institution where money, where finances is the main, not the main product, but the knowledge and the talent that we produce from our students. That is why HRM, in the educational perspective, is a distinctive approach to employment management which seeks to achieve competitive advantage from the strategic deployment of a highly committed teachers, highly committed staff, personnel capable to a workforce using an array of, take note of this, cultural. When we say cultural, because in any organization, in any country, we differ from our cultural practices. Structural. Every organization has different structure. Like Seliman University, we have our own structure. Your university, you have your own structure. Much more much more personnel technique, we have different policies. Every organization have a unique practices, have a unique technique in managing the personnel. That is why there must be a combination of policies and guidelines for an administrator to manage human resource. Because HRM or human resource management is a distinctive approach. That is why it is also emphasized and highlighted managerial perspective, which argues the need to establish an integrated series of personnel policies to support organizational strategy. What does it mean? It means that in working with personnel to ensure effective management of personnel and staff, the organization should create structural strategy, both the soft component, meaning policies, standard, procedures, and the hard aspect. Hard aspects refers to paper-based policies, protocol, guidelines, terms of engagement to the organization, and even qualifications. It means that HRM should, after all, even if that is a distinctive approach for knowledge production, it is still a managerial perspective that there is always policies and guidelines in managing people. The last point that I would like to emphasize in human resource management, it is a strategic approach. Because it is a strategic approach, and I mentioned about material and psychological rewards, HRM or human resource management is a strategic approach to extract the best competitive advantage among the people. It means that it highlights and emphasizes on how to leverage, on how to improve the capability of the staff, the teachers, and the people in the organizations. Why? Because if the abilities and the capability of the staff are increased or improved, then therefore there must be a distinctive set of integrated employment policies, programs, and practices towards the achievement of the organization. I was mentioning the soft material or the hard processes in HRM. Let me explain further what are the soft HRM and what is a hard HRM. Soft human resource management focuses on training, focuses on development, commitment, and participation among the staff. Meaning, it is used to design and to define human resource functions that aim to develop motivation, meaning what the personnel can inspire, the quality, meaning if the capability of the employee is being used and utilized at the maximum level, and third, used to define HR function in relation to commitment to the organization. On the other hand, hard HRM concentrates mostly or focus mostly on strategy where resources are used to achieve organizational goals. So I hope you can now interpret what do you mean by hard on soft, which refers basically to the material and the psychological rewards. Why? Because hard HRM is always associated with cost, control, and headcount strategy. Meaning, step one, step two strategy, especially in the business process, like how to increase the organization, how to decrease the organization, downsizing, hard HRM also concentrate like increasing the salary or decreasing the wage or shortening the break and so on and so forth. So to summarize what I have discussed, this is the framework of human resource management from a distinctive approach to a managerial approach to a strategic approach and the different rewards the material, psychological, the hard, and the soft. It can be illustrated in this way in such a way that a human resource is motivated by several factors. The first one is situational factors. It means that this includes the workforce characteristic, the strategy of the organization, the philosophy of the organization, labor conditions, task technology, laws, and societal values. That's situational factors. The interest of stakeholders refers to external entities such as the management, the shareholders, employee groups, the government, even the union, or even mandatory or memorandum or policies from the country. And that refers to interest of stakeholders. Now it goes to the inner part or the internal entity of the organization, which refers to policy choices like how are we going to retain employee? What is the flow of our human resource? What are the reward mechanism that refers to policy choices? From the policy choices, here is the outcomes, the deliverable. What is the output of the HRM? And the output, the expected outcome of HRM is commitment, how committed we are in our organization, how competent we are in our work, how congruent, meaning how relevant we how are we working in relation or in response to the nature and policy of the organization? Are we follower or are we a disturbance to the organization? Cost effective, and that is also one of the outcome. From all of this, it always boils down to consequences, meaning what are the alternative activities in the long run or in the long term of human resource management. And there are three major consequences which focus on the personnel itself, which is the individual well being. Second is on the organization in general, like how effective your company in general. And the fourth one, and the third one rather, is the impact of your organization to the society. So if you will see the picture of human resource, it covers you as a personnel in the organization itself, and the outside of the organization, which is the society well-being. Again, remember, HRM focuses on three: the people, the organization, and the society. My next discussion would be more on HRM and personnel. HRM and personnel management. So, personnel management regards employees as a cost, and it aims to minimize costs but increase productivity, which means that we as an employee, we are considered as a cost. But at the same time, we have to find ways that we can increase productivity in the organization. HRM also and personnel management sees employees as the personnel as human resources. So therefore, the main aim is to improve, develop, and retain this kind of resource. Improve, meaning we have or our organization should provide training for us to be improved. Develop. After the training, we as the personnel should be able to develop a new level of skill and a new level of knowledge. Say for example, in educational institution. At first, maybe we are just like a teacher, but our organization wanted us to be developed. That is why we have to attend training and we have to gain and earn a PhD degree because they wanted us to develop. Then retain. Retain meaning all the knowledge we gain from our PhD, we have to share it to the organization. How to share it? By sharing it to our students, by producing research, by producing publication. So that is the cycle of personnel management. We are considered as a human resource, but the main aim is we have to be improved, we have to develop, and we have to retain this kind of skill that we have in the organization. Let us try to investigate closely like the limitation of a personnel management. Personnel management is reactionary basis. What does it mean? This is personnel management follows a set of rules and regulations that state what to do when an employee or a personnel has a problem. That's the negative side on how we view personnel management. Another, personnel management is short term because human resource management is long term. Therefore, personnel management is only a part of human resource management, which primarily focus on employee development. And normally, for personnel management, the short-term agenda is always set by the manager. It always set by the human resource management. So again, HRM and personnel management is reactionary basis. That means it only function when there is a problem, when there is a challenge. For example, the personnel management will happen if there is a need to call a personnel because he created a problem to the organization. That is why personnel management will come in. On the other hand, HRM is long term. Why? Because it is for the entire existence of the organization. What I am trying to emphasize, personnel management is part of human resource management. In this diagram, I would like to emphasize that the three resources of the organization is always affected by strategy of the HRM. It is also affected by organizational as a whole strategy, and on the center that really affects to both organizational strategy and HRM strategy is what we call competitive advantage. What is competitive advantage? It refers to how we advance ourselves towards the competing or the competition of the outside entities. So before this slide, I emphasize on competitive advantage. The next question is, what is this competitive advantage? How can we make sure that our organization has the full potential benefit? And these are the many competitive advantage strategies. One example is shortened product life cycle, which means that when we produce a knowledge sharing, the shortest possible is necessary. Why? Because it requires less cost when we produce, like, for example, an assignment. Erosion of patent protection. What does it mean? Publications, copyrights, patent. We register our production to our country patent organization that will give us a unique ownership of that kind of production. Decrease regulation and protected markets, increase access to capital markets, and increasing importance of innovation, both processes and product. Why? Because HR, or human resource, is a key lever, meaning it is a key to achieve competitive environment to address many of these challenges. That is why even in higher education institutions, we already incorporate the importance of innovation, the importance of entrepreneurship in all or across disciplines, both process, meaning the teaching part, and product, meaning the publication, the copyrights, and patenting. In this diagram, I would like to emphasize that human resource is always associated with productivity, that the outcomes of human resource is productivity. Why? Because research shows productivity is affected from effort and work organization. And effort is a collective process which is directly affected from motivation, capacity, and control. What makes us personnel motivated? I think you will agree with me. If there is high salary, right? If we get more compensation, if we have good selection process, we can socialize. There is equity and there is fair and equal justice. And there are more opportunities of the organization. That is why me, myself, as a professor at Siliman, I am always motivated to teach with the Chinese batch of learners of our university because I am motivated. There are many opportunities, right? Um, Productivity, effort is also affected by the training. It is also affected by how we are selected being an administrator. And last but not the least, motivation, effort, and productivity is also affected from the so-called control. What do you mean by control? This is on how to retain people in the organization, how to maintain them, and that is affected by the monitoring pay. What does it mean? It means that the benefits that they could gain on the next day, on the next 2 days, or in short, what are the benefits that they will gain on the future. Because human resource focuses or as a strategic approach, then therefore it is functional. So when we talk about the role of human resource as a function to the organization, it emphasizes on 5 items: individual work versus teamwork or group work. Is it pay for job versus pay for individual, or pay for group, or pay for the need. That is why there are different contracts. In the Philippines, we have a so-called 3-year contract. We also have project-based contract, meaning it differs according to pay for job, or say for example, clerical services pay less compared to those who are engineers, compared to those who are scientists. That's the second. Is it make or buy skills? What does it mean? Make meaning we are going to develop a skill in our organization. That is why we provide training. Buy skills meaning, are we going to outsource a service? For example, if we don't have an audit, a monitoring skill in the organization, then we will outsource from external company. Fourth, promote from within or recruit at all levels. What does it mean? Are we going to promote only within the department? Or are we going to recruit from the different in order to place an administrator or a principal or a head in that organization? And last, functional choice in a human resource is job security versus no commitment. What does it mean? Like, if you are applying for the organization, are you secure 10 years from now, 5 years from now, or until the rest that you will retire? While the no commitment is, well, you just have to pay or you just have to work and get your compensation for 3 years. At the end of the contract, then there's no more commitment if you will be rehired. Because human resource is a philosophy, there are four major considerations when we study human resource with emphasis on educational administration. Motivate by money, or are we going to motivate by peers or by the work? Second, egalitarian or meritocracy. Egalitarian means the doctrine that all people are equal and deserve equal rights and opportunities. When we say meritocracy, it is a system which the talented are chosen and move ahead, meaning promoted ahead on the basis of their achievement. Third, assume shrinking principle. Assume shrinking means to avoid or to neglect a duty or responsibility, or simply assume inherent desire good to do good work. And the last philosophy on human resource is, are we going to control in centralized mechanism, meaning the entire organization, one head and the rest are will be following by one direction. While decentralized is compartmentalized, meaning there are departments. While there is a head, there are vice president, there is under the vice president, there might be another supervisor down to the rank and file personnel. In this slide, I would like to emphasize on the third aspect of HRM, which is the society and its well-being and impact to the society. Because in human resource management, there are two major factors, external and internal factors. External factors, this refers to the external labor market. What the labor market is demanding. Another external factor, the government policy, the guidelines of your country. Like to us in our government, there are certain wage policy, salary policy, business and union organization, personal or personnel group organization. While internal factors, this refers to technology organization or work organization, the strategy of the organization, and the value or the values of the organization. Therefore, an organization is a coordinated unit and they are conscious to each other, created by groups in society, which the aim is to achieve specific purpose towards the achievement of the aim and objective of the organization. How? By means of planned and coordinated activities by all personnel in the said organization. I wanted you to summarize, to encapsulate our understanding about human resource management in relation to establishing a healthy and effective strategic HR function. And let us try to put in our mind of the four very important questions in managing human capital development. The first one is about the current condition of the workplace. What does it mean? What is the current situation of our workforce? We should be able to ask ourselves, is our workforce doing what it should be doing in order to attain the organizational goal? Second, focus on the strength and weaknesses internally. Questions like, what are our core capabilities and sources of our workforce for competitive advantage? How can we train? How can we develop? And how can we reskill or retrain our employees so that the limitations and the workforce will be predicted or solved? Third, that we have to point when we manage human resource is the external opportunity and the threat. Questions like, how can we take advantage of the current situation in the business environment? What plans do we have for our workforce if the current market changes? Just to give you an idea, like in our university, when there was a threat on COVID and we are on the lockdown, the university should think, because this is a threat, but there is also opportunity to us to attract more enrollees who will take courses at Silliman via online. That is what we meant by opportunity and threat. And last but not the least, that we point out in managing human capital development is the direction of the organization, the path. Questions like, how do we know we are on the right path? Are we meeting our deadlines? Are we on schedule? Are we doing the right way and the right mechanism for us to protect our people? And the last slide is on the challenges of human capital development. The first challenge is on the fourth industrial revolution. In general, technology, information and communication technology affects human capital development. You can name it. We will discuss this on our last day. The second emerging challenge is we are in the so-called VUCA world framework. It is a framework that defines volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity in managing human capital development. Volatility refers to that there is no stable framework in the world, meaning it can change anytime. That is why it's volatile. There might be policy in place for in the organization, but we don't know what will happen on the next day. Second, uncertainty. Uncertainty refers to it's difficult to predict what will happen to the organization or business on the next coming days. Yes, there are technologies, there are analytics, data mining, and robots that can predict the future, but it is always uncertain when we talk about investment, when we talk about growth, when we talk about development of the personnel. Complexity refers to it is always complex when we wanted to learn new things and we wanted to learn new knowledge. Complexity is always affected by technology, uncertainty, and volatility. And the last in the framework, ambiguity, meaning there is no standard policy that will fit in one organization. One size fits all and best practice is not anymore possible today. It means that even if Siliman we have a good practice, it may not be necessarily applicable to other institutions because every organization is unique. That is what we call VUCA world framework. Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity principle.